Here's our game named Turtles. And before we start our presentation, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Anita, and this is Ivan, this is Mike, this is Justin, and this is Danny. Our game is just a very simple card game, and it's very popular all over the world. And in the Western country, it's named as Old Maid, while in Hong Kong, it's named as Turtles. And this game can be played with 2 or more players. And in this game, there's no technique available. That means that you do not need to use your brain to think. And the only factor to win the game is you're lucky.
Let me introduce how to play the game. First of all, there are 4 players. One is the human player and the others are the 3 computer players. There are 52 cards. Draw a card as a tortoise and divided with 51 cards to all the players. There is no need to care the difference of the number of the cards in each player. After that, you can show all the players out and start the player with the least remaining card and draw the card from your next player in the clockwise direction. If a card is formed, show the pair of the cards. At the last, if the player do not have any cards on their hand, that means that the player wins. Continue the game until only one player has the card on hand, and this is the loser, and we call this is the loser tortoise.
And let me introduce the implementation. We are using Perl CGIs to program our games, and we can run on the website. And also, when we design the game, we divide it into 4 stages. The first stage is the initiation of the games. The second is the game logic. And the third one is the graphical user interface. And the last one is the text-based database file. And first, let me introduce the stage of initializations. And first, we need to load the username, so we need to read the username input, and then we will open a text file to store the game data, and then we will generate the card to the player and generate the totals. And at the last end, we need to determine whether which player should start first.
The game logic is shown as below as the slide, and I will especially talk about check the pairs. We first we initialize the cards by integer 0 to 51, and we divide to 4 and get the result, and the integer we divided is matched with another card, then it is a pair. The text database file is used because we cannot save the game data during refresh the page, and free solution to solve this problem, but some negative effect by using different solution. Using form is very simple, but the code can be easily shown to the user by reading the HTML code. Using text-based file is complicated one because the file may be forwarded with other pairs, and using session is more complicated that I don't know how to use.
So let me talk about the graphical user interface.
And the graphical user interface is to output a website for showing the game. And more than that, the GUI with the users.
Please stop talking, except you. Go ahead.
By using the pop-up menu to read the user's input, the number of the card. So and after that, use the mouse. The user use the mouse as the input device to control the game. And also, the script we use in this program. First, we read the text-based game file, and performing the string process operation. And ask the script check the exit file and to end the game. Let me demo the game for you. And this is our web page, and we put all our information in this website. And here is our game. First, you need to type in your name, like icon, and then just put a game start. And then it will generate all the cards for your players. This one is the first player, second player, third player, and this is yours. And this is the tortoise. And this card is the moved player. And if you just cast the legs, and then this is your turn. So you need to choose whether you want to get which card, or maybe ask third card, and then click OK. Then I draw, and then the game is just run. And then if they draw as a pair, then it will
automatically output.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, how many lines of per code do you have?
Very nice. I do not pass, but
Next group should come set up.
but the code, I think about 1,000 lines.
1,000? Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Just you two guys? Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. My name is Lincoln, and he is Leo. So our project called TGmail, which is a web-based email system based on the framework of Turbo Gears. So I think our project is an open source project, which is here is our homepage, which is approved by source4.net. And I think we can first do the demonstration first.
First go to our web page, Comp111 with the security exception. So we can get the certificate. It is certified button, and we can confirm the security exception. Now we log into our system. Here is our email page. We can see we have the inbox of such email. So we click on it, and you can see here we use Ajax to fetch the email content as we click on it. So before we click on it, we don't have any content in the email. So you see the inbox is nothing. Click on it, and we have the mail asynchronously. So our email system can decode the MIME email with a Unicode encoding. So we try to send an email to, for example, my email address. Here we can use rich text format to compose some text. Bolded, italic, underline. We also can change the font color. We here also have a spell checking system which send our email message to the Google spell check server to check it. For example, pass, and we click the spell check. And here we get our suggestions. For example, pass. We also can check some French, German, Italian, something like that. So for Joe, okay, send it. We receive our email. You see, we can have the rich text format and display correctly. So now we try the Ajax on receiving email. For example, subject is Ajax. We can see we send the Ajax request every 5 minutes. And here we receive the email, the test Ajax. Here is the JSON format. We use the JSON format as the JSON object as the request, the JavaScript object notation. Here we can click on it, and we can receive the testing string. Okay, here is our demo. And we can have all sent mail stored on this page. Okay. We here also have the register page. The register page also have the validation check, and even the.
And I think our demo is too long, so we can go to our presentation.
You have only 3 minutes left.
Okay, so I will first talk about the functionalities and then the software architecture, and I've only selected 6 of them to talk in details. And it is actually a web-based email client, and an email client is something like Outlook or Thunderbird, and our program can handle the SMTP TLS, which is a secured version of SMTP. And when the clients log into the server, it will store on the web server, and then we do not log into the top server every time. And our focus on user friendliness, performance, and also security. And it runs on Turbo Gears, and it actually can run on Windows, Linux, or any other platform which can run Python. So this is our program which allows multi-user to log in, and then our program connect to the server which may be provided by the ISP, like sending mail or receiving mail. And we have cache mail so that we do not log into the mail server every time. And our program is written in the model view controller design pattern. And it is kind of dividing our code into model to store database and view to store only the template files. So we do not have the HTML codes in our Python script, and also we do not have the SQL queries in our Python script. And it isolates data and user interface, so we can actually manipulate the code more easily. We can edit the templates by some web editor, and actually we do not need to write the SQL code. Some similar concepts contain including the data program independency, like we separate the data from the program, just like the model, we separate the model from our code. And the second one is CSS and XHTML, which separates the style from the format in the web page. And PAC is another design pattern like MVC. So this is the MVC we use. So model, we will use SQLite to store our data, and then we use the SQL object to abstract the database. In the controller, we use Turbo Gears, of course. And for the view, we have Kit templating engine, which
you have to finish in 1 minute. I can read it the rest of the slides.
Okay. So maybe we go to the example here. We write the SQL object, so we do not need to write any SQL. And because we are using relational database, we cannot use, and we are using object-oriented programming, there is a gap between them, and the SQL object can link the gap between the object-oriented programming and also the relational database instead of an object database. And here is the Kit template engine. We are actually writing it in HTML, and it does not include any Python codes. And when the Python, the controller, read this template, it converts the coding into real data. And then here is an example of the Python code. It is actually really clean. We do not have the curly brace, and we use the indentation to replace the curly brace, and also the line break to replace the colon.
Thank you. So you started this project during this semester, right?
Right.
Okay, good job.
So, do you have any questions?
No, that's fine. Any more questions? Go ahead, start.
Good afternoon. We are going to present our Comp111 project. Our topic is Pac-Man. Pac-Man is a popular game. Perhaps you will know what it is after reviewing the traditional game interface. And here is the traditional game interface. Our game has two characters. Yoshi, the green guy from the previous slide, is the player. And Ghost, this white guy, is the monster. To win the game, the user needs to collect all the coins in the map. This is the coins. And however, if the player is eaten by the ghost 3 times before collecting all the coins, the game will end. Then let's see the game interface. Here's this game interface, and in the right there are 4 text fields: life, score, start time, and level. Now my groupmate will give a demonstration of the game.
There are some background music in our game. And you may also notice in our game there are some special event sounds. You can see when the user eats 1 coin, there is a special ding sound in our game. And later you will hear more other special sounds.
And you can see that the picture of the moving objects can be changed depends on which direction. For example, the player move left, then there is a corresponding picture to that direction. Also, you can see that there are 4 stars in the game box. After eating the stars, then the players can use the goals within 10 seconds. And you can see that there is a text box to show the countdown number from 10 to 0.
So now, can you imagine what will happen when the player eats all coins? Well, in fact, we have a next level. So now let's jump to the next level to start.
And here, the main difference between the level 1 and level 2 of the game is that in level 1, the ghosts will move in random direction. And in level 2, however, the ghosts within some particular range from the players, the ghosts will find a path to get closer to the players. So, if the player is stop moving, the ghost will eventually get closer to the players and eat the players. So now let's have a demonstration. As you can see, this ghost is far beyond the range from the players, so it's moving randomly. However, you can see these 2 ghosts are very near to the player, so it's following the player because it has a path to get closer to the players. It's very difficult. In fact, it's very difficult for the players to avoid contact with the ghost.
Yes. So now let's see what will happen if the player is eaten by the ghost for 3 times. So now the player only has 1 life left. If the player is eaten by the ghost right now, so the game will end because the player only has 3 lives for this game. So now we will continue by explaining the functions of our game. As you may notice, the players in our game in fact do not move box by box. but they move continuously from one place to one place. And to do this, we have to use JavaScript. And together with HTML, there is a special function in JavaScript which is called a set time interval function. And by using this function, we can implement this continuous moving feature.
And in many games, people need to hold the buttons long time to move the item in the game box. But in our games, people just press the button one time, then this can control the item in the game box to move in the game box.
And to further improve the program, we have implemented the intelligent direction changing system. What is this? Simple. When the user input a direction at a certain time, but the player cannot move to that direction due to the existence of walls, then the program will store the directions. Then the player will continue to move by the previous direction. Once the player can turn to that direction, it will do so.
And the main characteristic of the level 2 of our game is that the ghost can find a path to get closer to the player. So how we implement that is using the Dytra's shortest path algorithm. And in fact, we write some code to automatically generate the nodes and also the edge of the graph so that it can be used by the Dytra's algorithm. And we also input the current position of the goals and also the players. So the Dytra's algorithm will know how to output the path from the shortest path from the goals to the player. And the goals then know how to move in the best way to
So
get
next group
closer
should come out that up.
to the players.
So the Yoshi is moving continuously, right?
Yes.
So you have to run the Dytra's algorithm continuously.
Oh, this is one difficult part in our project. Because Yoshi is moving continuously, we cannot store it in an array. So we have to write another function to convert the position of the Yoshi or other ghosts into a corresponding position in the array, so that we can run the Dytra's path algorithm to find the shortest path.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Next group, start here. So to save time, the next group should set up during the Q&A session. Don't wait until the end.
Good afternoon, Professor Gu, TAs, and all the classmates. Today, we want to introduce a game which is called the Space Monopoly. Do anyone know what is a Monopoly? It is a game that there is a game board, and the player in the game board can move and buy some lands. And is that enough? Of course, no. In our version of Monopoly, there is some cards the player can use to win the games, and there is the special function of cells for in the game board, such that if the player in the game board there is some special functions. And today is our outline, which is first of all the presentation, and there's a demonstration. Now let's introduce our game board. There is some special cells here, which is the size of city. If the player go into this cell, they will deduct some money, and if they are in the shop, they can buy some cards, which I have introduced first time. There is some stay card, any card, and lose-in card. What is the function of the stay card? If the player use the stay card, he or she will stay these cells here for one round. And any card, the player can go for any cells from here to here. If he want to go 1, then he will go here, and for 6, he may go to here. And there is the infernal affairs. What is the function of it? If the player go into these cells, she will stay here for 2 rounds, and he cannot do anything except using cards. What about these cells? It is the chance cells. There is some random function of these chance cells. Sometimes there is some extra money given to you for use, or some cards for you, or deduct some cards if you are not lucky in the game. And if the player go across the start point for 2 rounds, it will add some money for you for gifts. So, what is our space monopoly? There is space for 2 parts. One part is the programming, and the other part is the graphic. In our project, the programming part is using the field for our engine, and the interface, and the HTML and CGI for our interface. For the graphic part, we are using some software and create our own version graphics. We are using the Flash, Photoshop, and Illustrator for drawing our own version graphs. In our engine part, we think that if a user demonstrate our project in the web page, if a user click the buttons, that some data will be lost. And what can I do? We'll decide the state diagram. There is some space for us to load and save the data in our simple database. What the simple database is, it is simply a TXT file, and the states are user input and ask user to input the data, ask user to add, and when they go to the next part. And for the state 1, we will initial the map and the player information for starting the game, and state 3 will tell the player what can they do. They can roll a dice, use card, and sell lands, I think. And for state 4, they can buy building if they want when they are in a new cells. And for state 5, they can upgrade their building when they go tries to the new buildings. Okay, for the interface of the HTML, we will check the loading file, initial the print map, and print map in each state, and print all the cells when in our each state. And this is our graphic part. we're using the software to generate our own versions graphic for these games.
What sort of tool is this?
The tools are Flash, Photoshop, and Illustrator.
I think you can go to the demo now. We're running out of time.
Let's do with we can support up to 4 pairs for time. Then we start with 2 pairs. Yes, you can type in the link here. Okay, let's start the game. As you can see, every pair is start from here. We have 2 characters here, and then we roll a dice. Yes. It shows the assets that the players own. And now I demonstrate the buying land. If after buying land, then there will be a logo showing the players that occupy with the color. As you can see, there's a yellow thing which belongs to the boys. Yeah. And each player has 3 actions to do, and they can choose to dice the dice, use the card, and also sell the land if he or she thinks he has not enough money, and then she can use the dice, and then he go to this chance dice, and then he will find that he do some illegal activities and need to stay for 1 month. And then for the player, I will go to introduce how to use the card. For example, there are 3 cards he can use: the stay card, the any card, and also the win card. Let me introduce how to use the stay card first. Maybe he also want to upgrade his building for more 1 level, so he want to stay in here, and then he can use a stay card to stay here and upgrade his building. For example, I use here, and then he still stay in this spot, and then he can upgrade his land also. And then because she do some illegal things, and she need to stay for more extra 1 month. And then he can still stay his house, and then he can buy another land. Let me introduce other function. Maybe this one is a bad guy. He might have this land, and then she want to win this land, and I will introduce how to use this. Maybe she can use the win card, and then we introduce a user-friendly function, and you can click in this spot, and for example, if you want to win this land, and then you can click here and to win this. But if you click other places, is invalid. For example, here, and it will return nothing to you. And for example, I want to win his land, and I click here, and then the land will win.
Okay, I think we are out of time. So next group, please come up. So how is this different from regular Monopoly?
The main feature that is so cool is all the graphic is almost all graphic is drawn by ourselves, and we got the card.
You can step over here.
The card system is also a new addition feature, make the game more fun.
Okay. I mean, for the game logic itself, how is it different from regular Monopoly?
We have the shop and also the card system to make the game more interesting. For example, the user can use the card to win others' land, or they can dice any value they want, and then they can do something special in this game. It is not like the traditional Monopoly.
So the game strategy is more varied, and you can use the card wisely as each one, make the game more cool.
Good. Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon. This is Group 18, and we are presenting our project to you. Is Scribble. Scribble is one of the most popular one of the most popular word games in the world. And the rule is very simple. What the user needs is just to build a word that attaches to the existing words, and by placing the individual letters that the player has onto the game board. As Scribble itself is not a complicated game, we cannot change or modify most fundamental rules of the game, so otherwise it is no longer called Scribble. However, we try to add some functionality around and behind the game core to support it, like the user authentication and the chatting function. We also support the multiplayers, so one can create a game while the others can join it. Once the game is started, there will be a countdown timer to remind the active player. When you are unable to build any word, you can draw a letter instead of submitting a word. If you are lucky, you will get some super key letters, which allows you to use it to represent any letter that you like. We do not allow you to submit any self-defined words, so all the words will be validated by our dictionary. And even more, if there is any, we will also notify the users if someone have timed out, surrendered, or won. Our application is written in the Perl CGI, so we only need to deal with the server side because the client side is simply a browser. And for our development, we decided to separate it into the user interface part and the game logic part. In other words, it's just front end and back end logic. The UI is responsible for handling the user's request, while the game logic part is responsible for data processing, for decision making, and also the I/O operations. The reason is that by adopting this approach, it helps in faster development because those UI part can treat the backend function as a black box, so we do not need to know the detailing inside or behind the game logic part. In order to support the multiplayer, timestamp is of every activity made by the player is recorded and updated in the server. So as a result, we can know which player has been disconnected by comparing the timestamp. For the logic part, we try to use several techniques like the depth of search on some operations, so that we do not need to check the complete 2D arrays, and like regular expression, we use it for the word validation, and even more, we can. For example, the letter drawn is actually based on the statistic of the frequency of each letter used. So after you get familiar with the logic behind our game, it's now the time for our game demonstration.
Okay, here I will show you guys how we play the game using our CGIs. We have put two spy members around the TAs and Mr. Group to demonstrate the game. So maybe let's log in first. Here, for example, if I have invalid name, then it will error. Yes, this is expected. And if I log in, so it's okay. Now, two members, please log in first. Okay, here we have implemented a chat room for us to discuss, well, who to start the game and who to just for fun. So, fun. Yes, and here we'll update, and so maybe someone can some reply is so funny here. L. Okay, so maybe now I can start a new game. This screen is a new Windows which display that I'm the host of the game, and here current players is me, and no one is joined. This screen here will show that if someone has created a game, you may see the computers on your side to see that there is a game created. We have implemented a game board 42. This is the game ID. We now have 2 people joined, me and Mr. Gu. And have you joined? Yes. Maybe let's wait for the last guy. We can have many people to join the game at the same time, not just 4 or 3. Yeah, we can have unlimited. Supposed to have unlimited people to join the game and play. So here we go. I can start the game because I'm the host. This is the main game board we implement. Here is showing the time. You can have 300 seconds, that means 5 minutes to think about. If you are powerful enough, you can clear the other podcast with 1 kill. Yeah, because we have changed the rules of Scrabble. We can put all the words at the same time if you can. So time for testing my English. Okay. We have implemented a drag and drop function, so you can drag the word from the word pool onto the game board. For example, maybe hats. P-O, yes. So let I confirm. I can surrender if I think oh no, I can't have anything. Or I can draw a new card and the turn will pass to the others. Maybe let me confirm it first. If the word is good, is valid, we can check the category, then it is become red. Otherwise, this will become invalid. And now the turns has passed to Mr. Gu, which is you. Yeah, you are Professor Gu, you may try it. Yeah.
So you go ahead, we're running out of time, so we have 1 minute left.
Yeah, and so you surrender. I know you draw the card. You draw the card. Okay. So then the background will update itself because I'm waiting. Yeah, please wait.
So do you decline pool periodically?
Yeah.
What's the period?
Using the just 3 minutes for check. 3 minute checking.
Okay.
If it is updated. So it's now the turn is passed to me because both of party has drawn the cards. And now I will demonstrate a fourth word. Let me not read it.
Okay, next group should come up.
Okay.
So wouldn't it be better if you use server push?
Server push.
Yeah.
We haven't used. We use the client group for the game lobby.
Server push will be more responsive, right? You can immediately see your result.
In fact, we use we have tried to use that, but because the page keep refreshing, and I think it's annoying. So we use another approach to do the background updates itself. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So let me demonstrate a draw card. So you can see I have 1 more card. And finally, maybe just skip the turns, please. Both parties. Let me demonstrate the last part of the game. Okay. Maybe wait. Because of the time problem, let me see if I can check. Yeah, and now the last function is surrender. So
excellent. Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
So we are group 19 and we are going to present our project. It is a hero story. Before we start, I would like to tell that we might be the first one who used pure Perl program, and we may be the only one. The reason why we want to use pure Perl program is because it's challenging to it's very challenging to do some like graphic, and we are presented by the ASCII art. It is the hero story is the turn-based strategy game. This is SLG as we all know. This is quite similar to one famous game called Pokemon. The story of the heroes game is quite simple and some challenge. And the demon army, that is our enemy, is planning to invade the world, and then we need a hero to prevent the invasion and defeat all the enemy, and the world becomes peace again. The game rules is very simple. We have to defeat enemies, and we have two types of enemy is to fight with. The first one is the Dark Knight. That is the boss of the all the boss of the game. And by default, we have 10 boss, and we can also add or remove the boss by the test every time. And the other one is the Bandit, which we can take it for training. And our final goal is to defeat all of the 10 Dark Knights, that is 10 boss, and the game will be end. As we know that this is a turn-based strategy games, and we have a battle, and we have to fight with the enemies. The enemies, we have attack, defense, or something like dodge or charge attack. But we cannot let the computer just randomly choose the action. Then we have implement very handy AI.
The AI should how the computer know which option, such as to attack or defense or dodge or charge, how to control the computer option. It is simply based on two factors. One is the computer HP. That means our enemy HP, and our self HP, that is our remaining HP. If our HP is very little, and the computer HP is very large, and that means a lot of HP is remains on the enemy, the enemy will be more aggressive. And if our HP is far less than our enemy HP is far less than the computer HP, it will be more passive. The computer will choose to defense or dodge instead of charge or attack to. Or recover to.
Okay, I think you can go to the demo now. I can read the slides.
We have also a level system, and if the enemy is killed, and the XP will be gained. And as a per program, we have to go to SSH to do it. And due to the technical problem, some of the character cannot to reprint in SSH, so I have just slightly amendment. So this is our game. We have seen that there is a main menu, and we can choose the new game, load game, or credits and exit. Let us give a new game, and this introduction that I have told you before, and we can enter the name like CSE, and we have you can choose our default or option on any field like HP, attack point, defense, and speed. And we can have only 8 points to set as free. Like maybe HP I set 1 point, attack 4 points, and defense 0, and the speed is free. Then we have generate a new hero. Then we have a game menu to choose whether we want to battle with the boss or have a training and battle with the bandits, or to check our status like this. Then next we can have a training, and in a battle menu we can choose attack, charge, defense, or dodge or recall. And then it's quite simple to attack the bandit. And the bandit will also attack you or choose the defense or charge attack. So when we kill the bandit, we can gain some EXP. And when we have enough the EXP, and then we level up. To speed up the presentation, we can we will have a preset player called Comp111, and we will go to the fight with the boss. And so the boss is here, and it is much stronger than the bandits. And we kill them, and yes, as the boss is, as our player is quite strong, so it can finish this boss quite fast.
So it's a one-player game, right?
Yes.
You're playing against the computer?
Yes.
I see. Okay, good. Thank you. Next group, please. So how many lines of code do you have?
1211. 1211.
Okay. Don't log out. Keep it there.
Oh.
Yeah. You can close that.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 20, and our project is Lunar Rush. You may be curious about this word here, rush. What's the meaning of rush? Do we really need to rush? The answer is yes. Every player in this game have to rush in order to win this game. So let me give you an overview of what this game is. Our game is based on the classic Uno. So some of the rules in the classic Uno also apply in here. And our game is a fast-paced game compared to the traditional Euro. We make the game fast, and every player need to hurry in order to finish his game. So we'll talk about some background about why do we choose this game. Since we have many card games in the internet, but we seldom play Uno in the computer. And compared to the classic Uno, our game is fast-paced, and our game is user-friendly because you do not need to remember so many rules. We just have some simple rules, and our game is well known because many of you should have played Uno before, so you can familiar with this game. Now we will introduce different kinds of cards to you.
There are total 108 cards, and there are 76 number cards, and there are 32 action cards. Let's introduce the number cards first. The number cards there has 0 to 9 number, and there are 2 same color cards. For example, there are 2 blue 0 cards and 2 blue 1 card. Totally has 90 blue cards and 90 green cards. And the excellent card is about there are 8 draw 2 cards. For example, there are 2 blue draw 2 and 2 red draw 2 and 2 yellow draw 2 and 2 green draw 2. The reverse cards also has 8 and sleeve card and 8. And the wild card there are 4 and there are 4 draw 4 cards. And the draw 2 cards in total have 8 cards. This card is when the user plays this card, the next user will draw 2 cards from the deck. And then if the next user, they also have the draw 2 card, they also can put the draw 2 card to another user.
Now, it is reverse card. We totally have 8 reverse cards, 2 in each in green, blue, green, red, yellow. This is the card color. You can see this red card. And the skip card is the same as reverse card, but the function is different. As you can see, the reverse is reverse the direction, and the skip card function is to skip the user. For example, if player 1 play the cards, if we use the skip card function, and the player 2 cannot play the card as a traditional Uno. But we don't need to remember all the rules because the computer will calculate. Now it is a wild card. What does it mean? Because it just means that the wild card is all color. You can change the color of the deck because you must follow the color rules. And for example, there is a yellow card on the deck, and we must play a yellow card. But we could play this wild card on the deck to play any card you want. And the last one we introduced is the wild draw 4 card. Yes, it is the same as the traditional Uno card to draw 4 cards to the other player, and the color will be changed depending on the random number.
Now I'm going to introduce our game rule to you. So at the beginning of the game, every player will deal 7 cards. So you can see here. And the remaining card will be formed a draw pile. So every time you draw a card will be drawn into the user. And this is called a discard pile. A card on the top of the deck will be put in here. And the first player will match the card here to try if he can place the card in the center. So to match the card, you can either match the color or number or type to place a card here. However, if you can match a card will be drawn to you automatically, so that you have a chance to place a new card in the next turn. So if any of the user do not have any cards, and the game will be end. So here comes to our demo. So this is the home page, and you can start which player is human or computer. So you can see at the start, every player can see others' cards. This is something different from the classic Uno. And as you can see the color here, the background will change according to the color here. And we have an arrow here, so the arrow will rotate according to the turn of the player. And so if you do not have any cards, you will be draw a new card here. So you can see just now the card someone has put a draw 4 here, and the color is chosen by random, and it has been replaced by a yellow background. So and you can see a round card is placed. It just do something like the draw ball. It will do something similar and chose a random color. Okay. So we have picked some computer player, and we start the demo. So for computer player, it will sort its card automatically, and it will choose some card to match the card outside and put it here.
Okay, I get the idea. So, what language did you use?
JavaScript.
JavaScript?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next group, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Here is our game, Monster Hunter. I would like to give you a very brief introduction of this game, and Vincent and Brian will give a much more detailed demo later. And this is the background. This is about a story about US students' adventure. And in the main screen, we have 4 choices. The first one is the registration. You can register an account here. And the next one is the main page. You can find a map here. And we have a demo to you how it works. And we also provide a store here. You can buy, equip your characters with weapons and potions. And if as you move, you would encounter some monsters, and that page will redirect you to a fighting page, and you will fight with monsters. If you defeat them, you will gain money and experience. Okay, next. get to the demo.
Okay, so this is our game's main page. And inside there are 4 options for you to choose. First of all, let's choose the how to play column in order to see the instructions. So detailed instructions will be written here. And after seeing instructions, let's register for an account. So we use pattern matching to check the username and password. And if somebody has used a username before, it will tell you that the login has failed since somebody used the username. So we need to register a unique username and password. Okay. And after that, we will choose the character type. There are different character types, and each type of character will have different strengths, abilities, and even different kinds of weapons to use. So after that, we'll click register button, and your account will be successfully registered. After that, we can go to the play. As we also need to input our username and password. So right now, let's key in a wrong username or password, and then it will prompt you, telling you that the login has failed. And so let's input a correct one now, the one that we just registered. And it will be directed to the main page. So after we've been directed to the main page, all the pets status will be loaded into the main page. And every time when you press logout, all the status will be also saved in a text file as well. And so this is the name, and these are the directional buttons. These directional buttons are to guide your character to move around the undead marshes. Okay, so this is the exact location of our character. And every time you press a button, this character will move around the map. And these ones are the bosses. Each boss will guard a region, and unless you defeat the boss, you cannot get through other regions. And finally, there's also icons of shops here, where you can enter inside and buy weapons. So now let's walk around the map, and occasionally you will encounter different types of monsters. So now we're going to walk around, and it will randomly generate some monsters as you walk. Okay, so now, okay. Here we are going to our fight page. In our fight page, we will defeat our monster here. Okay, here we have a few options. The first option is attack, the other option defense, and we can use potion and magic. Okay, we first try attack. If our pet is strong enough, we can damage the monster. So the description will show here, and the HP of the monster is decreased. So we can also choose defense. The defense will reduce the damage from the monster attack. Okay, we can keep on to attack the monster until it's defeated. And also the status will be shown here. For example, our weapons, attack weapons and defense weapon. Also our strength, defense level, and the strength and defense will increase as our level increase. Also, we can use the potion to heal our pet. As we all know, we can see our HP is increased after we use the potion, and the number inside is the number of the potion we have. So we keep on attack the monster, and finally we can defeat the monster, and we will gain the experience points and the gold. What is the use of the gold is we can go to the shop to buy different weapons, shells, and potion. And the experience point is for us to increase our pet level after we reach a certain point of the experience point. Okay, so the status will be updated here. So now let's try to get into the shop. So we'll ignore other types of monsters currently, and we'll go directly to the shop. Okay, so inside the shop there are different types of weapons for you to buy. You can buy weapons, shields, or even potions. But there are a number of constraints though. First of all, if you buy a type of weapon which is different from your character type, it will prompt you a message saying that your character type cannot buy this type of weapon. And the other thing is, if you buy a weapon which is much stronger than your pet's level, you are not allowed to buy the weapon either. And finally, you must have enough gold in order to buy a weapon. So now let's update the weapon to that one. Let's buy this. Okay, so I bought this weapon. And also let's buy a potion as well, since we might need it during the battle. Okay, so now we bought a potion. So now let's get back to the main world and we'll continue exploring. So maybe let's walk around and see what happens. Okay, and so as we walk around, we'll encounter different types of monsters here, and we'll actually show you that there's some regions there blocking your way.
of course, that link is actually cheating. We will disable it. But for demo purposes, we'll enable it to just skip it. So see, you are not strong enough to explore this region yet, since the boss has not been defeated. So now, let's defeat the boss. Okay, so now let's walk to the boss. Okay, there's monsters. Okay, yeah, okay. So let's click the boss. Let's go. Okay. Okay. And after that, we can use different types of attack methods. But right now, since we're a level, we can use skill here. And if your level reaches a certain level, you will gain different kinds of skills. And now after using skills, you will use MP points, magic points, to attack your opponents. So you can also use the MP potions to heal. And also, we just bought a potion here, so you see the number of potions increased to 1. And we also bought this sword as well. And so all of these will be updated. So now let's kill the boss. Okay. And finally, after killing the boss, you'll be able to walk around the other regions over there. So you'll be able to walk around and you will... The other regions? Yeah. And so you can see the background has changed. Now you went to Lost Desert region. Okay, and as the game proceeds, you will be, let's exit it. As the game proceeds, you'll be allowed to enter different types of regions, and after you have defeated the final boss, the game ends. So basically our game has used CGI and HTML to implement the game structure. And we also use some JavaScript as well. And we also edited different types of, edited some pictures in order to make it more graphically appealing. And so, yeah. And every page there are even instructions for you to look. Yeah, so there are detailed instructions telling you how to play the game, and so for your information. And so, yeah, this is basically everything.
Next group, you set up.
So, does anyone have any questions?
Question from the audience? So how did you draw the map? Did you draw it by hand?
No. It's editor time.
I use Photoshop and GIF animator to edit all the photos. Yeah, and inside the map we also use the 20 times 20 forms to allocate the coordinate. You can see highlight it.
Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Our application is a CGI version and Monopoly of with UST features. This is a CGI-based board game. As you can see, this is in a browser interface, and it has many features of many UST features. For example, the bus stops, the visioning, and etc. And we will show the map to you later. And talk about the game rules, and just like similar Monopoly, and we start with 2 players, and each player start with $8,000. And then first we have the button for the roll dice, and each player will continue to will roll the dice in their turns, and then to decide which step they will go. Okay, then at first if you step on some simple empty lands, they will be able to buy the land, and if they not choose to buy the land, then no auction will be held. Just like instead of like the regular monopoly, no auction will be held. So the land will left empty for the next player to step on it. And then if there is some property of others, for example, if it is your land, you have bought it before, you can build a house if you re-step on it next time. And if this is another player's land, and you have to pay the rental.
And there are some functional lands that you can see here. This one is 很少一, and this one is 超垃圾. It's in English, it's littering. And because on the normal land, you can, if you stop there, you can buy the land or build your house. But on the special land, functional land, no action will be taken to you, but you will be punished, and maybe you will get some money bonus. And at the 4 corners, we implement the functional land, a special land, which is bus stop, beach link, and muncie, and 偷停小徑. And for each of them, they have special function in the special rule applied in the game. And every time you pass the bus stop, you will, which means you have finished the round trip 1 time, you will get 800 money added to your pocket. But if you stop in the muncie, you will be stopping for 2 rounds. Something that we are a little bit different from the normal monopoly because we don't have a mortgage for you to buy the land or buy the house, and we don't have the trading function. And for the easy player of the game, we don't apply the color rule, which means that on the same street the land must be on the same street so that you can build a building. But here, once you revisit your land, you can build your building. And once either player lost all the money, they will be the loser.
So let me now talk about something about the software architecture, and this is the flow of our software. Firstly, when we open the browser, we start the game, and then the system will check whether there is a player lost all their money, and if yes, it will end the game. And if it have checked that no player have lost, so the player that their turn is on will can roll their dice and then decide how many steps they can go.
Okay, can you go to the demo now? We have seen quite a few Monopoly games. So.
Okay.
CCGID 啦，見到未啊？鐵頂你入唔到㗎 ，FPGA。冇輸啊！你打邊啊？我問。
多喎整嗰啲嘢，我唔知邊個啱喎，發你個相，你有冇啊
？Map data。
有邊個啊？一定有咯，係咪做咗？啊，係。咁咯，你講就係你講好過你講，你撳嘅啫。
Okay, first, we had 2 players in the game. They will roll the dice in turns. The first player rolls, and the player will move to the place. And the red page will ask him if he wants to buy the land because the land is now empty. Once he bought the land, the color blue will indicate that the land is owned by the male player. And it's the second player's wrong. 去咗邊？就咁樣。係就錯咗。就係一個。中咗啊！好爽咯。Because the second player is step on the first player's land, so she will be paying the rent to the male player. And it's the first player's wrong turn. And yeah, because he stopped again in the empty land, he will be unable to buy the land. Right, putting roll. Now the female player stopped in the munchie, so she will be stopped for 1 wrong. Okay, 2 wrong. Yeah.
So as you can see, because the second player stopped to 2 rounds, and after the first one, after the previous round of player 1, and then this is the player's 1.
The player 1 can roll once again. Yeah. And we are now trying to demo that if the player steps once again in his own land, he will be unable to build a house. If he stops in his land for the second time, he will be unable to upgrade his house to a building. And we have special rental for each level of the rent. For example, if the land is empty, the rent will be around 10% of the price of the land. If the building is built, this is the house that built on her land, and if she steps once again on this place, she can paying certain amount. She can update his house to a building which is bigger one, and more punishment will be placed against the other player.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you very much. Next group, please. So what language did you use?
CGS.
Perl and CGI?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
We can start.
Yeah.
This is our project. Our project title is called Brain Master, and I'm Louis. He is Eureka. Eureka. He is Jimmy, and he is Jimmy. It's Jason. And what is Brain Master? Brain Master is a game. It's a brain test game which to test how you can control and how you can manage your brain, and also can be seen as an exercise for your brain. In our game, it contains index page and 3 games. In our project, we use the pair programming, CGI, and also the JavaScript. And you can see this is the index page. And here is a test field which gives the user to input their name, and then after the user clicks the start the game button, the data will be passed to the next page by the get method. And if they have a file called dates which contain the previous data of the user, and then it will print out below the start the game button. And you can see the demo here. Here is our index page. For example, my name is Louis, and then starts the game. It will go to the game 1, and then I will pass to Eureka to talk about game 1.
And the game 1 is the pattern recognition game, and this is of course time limited, and the more questions you answer correctly, the higher score you get. And there are 4 levels in the game, and different levels will have different number of items. For example, the first 2 levels will have 4 items, and the last 2 will have 6. And there will be either numbers or characters in that is the item. Yeah, and this is the interface of the game. You can see that there are 4 numbers here, and you need to order it, and from the smallest to the biggest. And here the smallest is the 0, and then when you press the 0, click the 0. Then if the answer is correct, so it disappears. And the next one is 4, but if you click 8 or 10 that is wrong answer, then it will show a wrong message and then tell you what is the answer actually. And here is the instruction of the game 1, and then it's start and will link to another page that start the game. And here is the timer at the top, and it calculates by comparing the time of the time that load into this page, and you press the button. And for here, there is 4 number generate and will store in an array, so that when you press the smallest, will be compared by the sorted list, the first one of the sorted list, so that it is the smallest. And then when you finish again, and write message, and then go to the next question, and then if you press the wrong answer, it will show you the message. And after several questions, you will go to the next level. This is the character, and then you need to touch on the C, and then maybe this one. Oh, it's wrong. Yes, that is the game. And Jimmy will tell you what is the next game is.
To begin with, let me introduce our game. The game 2 is called Matching. The aim is test your memory of the players. The ideas of the game is randomly generate a table, and it should be appear after a few certain time. Therefore, the players should need to memorize the whole table. As I say, the players need to decide the fruit disappear, which is the same as the one still appear. And there are 5 levels. Each level has different size of table, and different period will be given to the player to remember the whole table. And this is the game flow of my game. First, the game will hold until the until the player kicks the start button, and therefore there will 60 seconds will give to the player to play the whole game, and the timer will start to count down the second. And this is my game demo. And as you can see, there is a table and have a 4 fruit. There is, and after a few seconds, there the fruit is disappeared, and only 1 fruit appear. And therefore, you should decide which fruit is the same as this brown apple. And if it is white, we can show you the answer is white. And I'll use a random table with random. Yes, and here is my game. And when I start there, so fast. A few seconds later, the whole table is disappeared. After there is only 1 fruit left. Then I think quick. And we wait until the game certain score to go to next level. And the level is up when you earn certain score, and the time will be shortened. And therefore, when you go to level 3, the whole table will go to 3 by 3. When we go to level 5, if you can, the table will be 4 by 4. Okay, Jason will talk the next game for us.
Game 3 is a game about simple calculation. The game will provide an incomplete formula with one missing symbol, and the player need to choose
2 minutes, please. 2 minutes.
The player need to choose the answer between 4 symbols: plus and minus and multiply and divide. And the complexity of the incomplete formula will be increased according to the number of answered questions. And the game has a timer to control the time limit. After the player kick the button ready, the timer will start, and when the time's up, the result will be stored. Here I will show the demo. The player keep the ready and the timer will start. And choose the answer. If the answer is correct, the number of answers correctly will be stored here. And here is the total answer question.
Okay, good. That's it, right?
This level. This is this level. The complexity of the formula will be increased. Yes.
Yeah, it'll be very good for for small students to exercise their arithmetic. Excellent. So good. Next group, please.
Here is our project. Here is our project called Photo Hub. This is the interface of our project. Here show the username, the score, and the life. This means the time remaining. Here is the two pictures shown on the screen, and if there is any difference, the user can click it, and if it is right, then it will display a red circle to signal that you are correct. And there are totally 5 differences in the two pictures. And our project is divided into 2 parts. The first part is the game page that is shown before, and then is the upload and update page. Here is the starting page, and if the time is limited, the page will turn red, and if it is good, if the time is running out, and it shows the time is out and game over. If you get the 5 answer, it will show bingo. This is the upload and update the page. User can upload their own photo to the game, and the first one is the original one, and the second one is the one different from the original one, and the user can type in the width and height, and then press upload button. And here is the setting the coordinate of the circle that the user want to display, and signal where is the correct place. And here the user can test the place of the circle and type in the 5 circles, and then press submit. And then the next part I will talk about the methodology.
In our project, we have used Perl, HTML, CSS, Flash, and JavaScript to make the game. And here is a list of the files in our project. Firstly, the game CGI, which is the main page to run a game. We have the upload and update CGI file to manage the upload and update function of our game. And we have file upload HTML, which is interface for uploading the photos, and we have the data text file to install the photos of the data and the points of the data, which is the point which are different to another. And we have the variable to store for the number of photos, and we have the ranking text file to save the high score for the ranking. There is a limitation in our game is that we only test the game in Internet Explorer 7, and it may not work in other browsers because the compiler of JavaScript in other browsers may not run the game. And let me pass the demo part to my colleague.
This is our game page. Before we play the game, we can enter our name first. For example, we have 2 modes in our game. A normal mode, which is a traditional one, and the crazy mode with the photo swapping in a period of time. And below the control button here is the rank of the player. And now let's do the demo. This is the starting scenes, and there are totally 5. Difference in the 2 photos. So if you take the wrong place, your life will be deducted, and that's the time remaining will be deducted. And you can use the hints to find the different place directly. Now we do the ROM demo. We can see that the time remaining is becoming shorter and shorter, and if you are run out of time, the page will become red.
Okay, excellent. Next group, please.
Not yet. And after the game, there are dotted circles to show you all the correct answers.
And besides of that, we also have a page for the user to upload their own photo to the server. And and we can first upload the photo, and you can see the photo here. And here we have do a tool to help the user to set the different point. So it's the coordinate, and you can click the show, and you can see the circle. Well, I have put the two points at the same coordinate, so it cannot show the difference. Here you can see the points is we use 2 points to make a square, and so that when you click on this area, then it means it's the different pace. So it can help the user easier to configure the photo, and you can after that, and you find out the 5 different points, and you can add here at the coordinate here. Just for them also, we need not to make a perfect. So we can submit the photo, and the new photo will be submitted to the server, and the game will randomly choose the photo in the database, and that's all for our presentation.
Okay, thank you. Next group, please. Don't log out. Don't log out. Okay.
Just remove the man.
Yeah. I think it's 25. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Our group is 25, and our name, the name of our game is Socket. The game is initiated by a mini game in Facebook, which is called Who Has the Biggest Brain. It is a mini game of the Who Has the Biggest Brain, and the game is common in many IQ tests. The game is about sorting numbers between 0 to 9 in ascending order. Each round has 15 games, and after you play the game, the ranking will be offered.
So the key to play is firstly the game will generate some kind of different pictures of different digits from 0 to 9. So you need to type in the correct orders and of the digit in order to get the point. And for each one we have 15 games to view, and if you get right you get 1 mark, and incorrect 0 mark. So, and the complexity of the game will be increased from the 6th one and the 11th one. So So you can see that this is the homepage of our game, and it consists of start game, ranking, how to play, and about us. And for the main part,
okay. 3 o'clock, right?
It's okay.
So finish in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Next group should come with me to another room for the demo.
for the main part is start game. So we can see that there is 3 pictures of consists of different digits. For this one, 5, 9, and 4. And if you do not enter anything, the page will still refresh within a time limit of 8 seconds. And if you get a wrong answer, for example, like this, so we can see that the answer is incorrect. It will show you. And if you get the right one, E5. Fast. 0, 6, 8. So if the answer is correct, they will show you you're correct. And after a certain kind of one, the picture will be increased. For feature, so if reach the 11th one, the digit will be increased to 5. And after 51. You have the total score, and you can enter your name, and it will be shown a ranking table.
Thank you. And I will introduce the game design part, which is the architecture. Here is the whole architecture of our game. The first 3 steps in this diagram is the initialization parts. Then we will wait for the user's input. Here, the condition times up yes means the user exceeds the time limit. No means the user can type the answer within the time limit. If he can submit the answer within the time limit, we will first print the user's answer and the correct answer and decide whether his answer is right. If his answer is right, we will print grade here right and increment his score. Otherwise, we will print this one. Otherwise, if the user exceeds the time limit, we will just go on here and prepare for the next round. Here, I have a mistake here. It should be 15th round.
Okay, so I think I asked a few questions. So did you run into problems with server push on the iHome server?
We use client pool instead of server push.
Client pool, right. I thought it doesn't work on the iHome server. Excellent. So it's done with Perl, right?
Yes.
Perl and CGI?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next group, you come with me.